All right, everybody. In the interest of everyone's time, I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Hello and welcome to the September 2024 edition of the DuPage ROSC Council. My name is Jarrett Burton. I am your ROSC coordinator, as well as a person in long-term recovery from substance use and mental health challenges. If we could please start by making sure, if you are not already muted on Zoom, just make sure you mute your mics so we can kind of cut down on some of the interruptions. I also have my colleague Danny here. He's got a fast trigger finger with the mute button, so if anybody needs it, he's got you. But yeah, if you were in here at the beginning, I just asked if people want to put their name and contact info in the chat. It helps us to keep attendance for the state, and it also allows us to make some connections offline as well. And we'll talk about some other ways you can do that in just a little bit. I do want to point a couple of things out before we kind of get into the agenda, what's going on today. Just to remind everybody, and I think most of you need no reminder that we're right in the middle of Recovery Month, and there is so much going on with different events and programs. So we're glad you can be here with us this month to kind of spotlight a bunch of those things that are going on for Recovery Month. Over the past few weeks, it has been, as busy as ever with overdose awareness now into Recovery Month, different programs. A few of us were at the DuPage County Mental Health Summit this past weekend. And it was really great to look out, as I was taking part in a panel discussion, and I was looking out at the people there and really felt fortunate for having the amount of resources and pretty amazing organizations that are doing work in this area out in DuPage. But the one feeling that I always get at a lot of those events is if we could have an increase in attendance from any group or any sector at those things, it's for people with lived experience. I think those of us who are in recovery, it's really, really important to kind of try and center those voices. Believe it or not, in DuPage County, there is still quite a bit of stigma attached to substance use challenges, like there are in a lot of places, but I feel like we're even a little bit further behind as far as some of that stuff goes. And the best way to combat that is to have people who are in recovery, being out there, being out in public, talking about not only the substance use challenges they faced and maybe had come up in our area, but the recovery they found out here. Because I'm a person who did both, right? I'm a person who, had my own substance use issues in DuPage, but I'm a person who recovered in DuPage. And I think the more people that we have, that we can center those types of voices, it really, really makes a difference. And I think it's just something I like to bring up just to keep top of mind as we are into Recovery Month. So thank you everybody for the work that you've been doing. As you see, when we start to get into all these events, this is a jam-packed month. And so I'm glad that we can highlight a bunch of this stuff that's going on. I also want to say a special thank you to everybody who attended the overdose awareness event last month. I think everybody, most organizations had at least, one event that they were doing or going to. This group here is no exception. I think most of us did, double and triple duty at places. Everybody who attended the Serenity House one, it was a really, really impactful and amazing night, as it always is. And we can really only do those events by the engagement of, the clientele base, obviously, but also the alumni and the people that just keep coming back and making their presence known in the recovery community out here. So we were really, really thankful and fortunate to have that group come back year after year for our overdose awareness. So thank you for that. So I'm going to share my screen here. Let me go ahead and get this up. If I can find, here we go. Okay, since there might be a few new people here, actually there is a few new people here. I think I've met at least 3 or 4 new people. I thought it'd be important just to kind of go over what it is that we do, because I think people maybe recognize the name ROSC or DuPage ROSC, but maybe aren't aware of what it is that we do. So I really think it's important to kind of go over some of this stuff before we get into it. Just a quick overview. We're a coordinated network of community-based services and supports. We really try to be person-centered and build on the strengths and resiliences of the individuals, the families, and the community to not only increase wellness specifically around substance use and mental health, but increased overall wellness that goes along with that. Our mission and vision, collaboration's the key to this. Collaboration to build and empower a community of recovery in DuPage County, helping people of all ages to kind of overcome those challenges and achieve goals through their personalized and person-centered behavioral health services. So you're here with us, the Sustainable ROSC Council that is going on a little over 3 years now. In November, we'll have our 3-year anniversary meeting, which just blows my mind. It's been 3 years already. But this is the Sustainable ROSC Council. Y'all come back month after month to stay connected and understand what's going on in the recovery community in DuPage, and build that community and help reduce that stigma. Some of the really important goals, this is not just specifically for DuPage ROSC, but I think the ROSC model in general. Recovery should always be person-centered. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach. So we have to embrace multiple pathways. We have to always operate with integrity and a sense of personal responsibility. The people in recovery and their families, those people with lived experience, those are the people that should determine the services that are needed for them in their communities. It's important to implement programs with competency and good stewardship. We want to empower individuals, family, and the community, always embrace diversity, and prioritize collection of data and evaluation. That's not always the fun part, but that's an important part. And then just some goals of what we do and what we've been doing to inform and educate and empower that community, kind of determine what existing services and supports are available, see where maybe there's some areas of need or maybe some gaps in services, and do what we can to advocate and move in to fill those gaps. And then just develop and nurture those community partnerships. There have been people who have been coming to our meetings for the past 3 years, and they come back month after month, and it really is a grassroots, one-to-one relationship building we've been able to do, which has just been super, super important. So for anybody who's new, that's kind of the Cliff's Notes version of what we do. We'll always try to hit home at the beginning of these meetings, kind of what we're about and what we're doing. So what are we doing today, though? After I preview a whole bunch of upcoming meetings and trainings, my colleague Danny is going to talk to us about WhatsApp, as well as the CORS grant he now heads up for Serenity House, which deals with peer support. Also, my colleague Danielle, who heads up the DuPage Recovery Community Organization, is going to give a short update. Then we got Joey Tepper, Coalition Coordinator at Illinois Harm Reduction and Recovery Coalition, to talk about an upcoming opioid overdose crisis town hall that yours truly and a bunch of others will be at. And then in general, kind of what the IHRC is up to as far as the work for the people living with substance use challenges. And then one of my favorite people, Dr. Mary Roberson from NIRCO and the Lake County ROSC, who is part of a team putting together the National Recovery Rally, which I hope all of you at this point have heard about, because that is coming up next weekend. And so that is a huge event. Dr. Mary and CRCC and Faces and Voices of Recovery have been working on this event and this project for a while. And so it's awesome that it's finally going to come to fruition. So it'll be cool to talk about that. So let's talk about some upcoming things. Recovery Month next week on Wednesday, September 18th. We are going to have a special Recovery Month presentation by Tom Farley. You may recognize the name. He's the brother of Chris Farley. And he's going to be talking about his own recovery journey, the addiction that ran in his family, and the work that he's doing now. These are completely open to the public, these presentation series meetings. That's the third Wednesday of every month, usually at 10 a.m. Those are only on Zoom, but those are completely open. We hope you can join us for that one if you've not heard a chance to hear Tom speak. He's a phenomenal speaker, and I'm really, really glad that we could have him with us for that presentation. Next month, we have got presentations from our friends at Banyan Treatment Centers and the Way Back In. So we're going to be talking about options for both residential treatment and sober living, two incredibly huge needs for our area, not just our area. If you work in the field, you know how tough it can be getting people in places. And both of these spots, Banyan and Way Back In, have been doing amazing work, for decades now. And so I'm glad we can kind of highlight both of them. These meetings, ROSC Council, the one you're at right now, is always on the second Wednesday of every month at 3 p.m. The Zoom stays the same, so if you ever feel like you couldn't find an invite or something, just keep this Zoom link. It's the same one every second Wednesday. Last week was the inaugural kickoff meeting of the Peer Recovery Support Specialist Support Group. I know it's not a very wieldy title. It's a lot of words. But the idea was, with all of this expansion in this field, as far as people working in peer support, so people with lived experience going out becoming CRSS, so Certified Recovery Support Specialists, or PRSS, which is the Peer Recovery Support Specialists. There's a lot of us who could use our own amount of support. And so I thought, you know what, it might be a good idea to start running a meeting twice a month. Just for those of us who are kind of working in the field to get together, talk about some specific topics in the field. Yeah, but also, this is the meeting for these people, for peer support workers. This is really y'all's meeting if you want to make it that way, you know? So if this is a place where you just want to come and talk about the job, that it can be that too. If you want to use it as a place to talk about your own personal recovery as you work in the field, we can do that too. It really is a chance for us to kind of mold it from the ground up. So this is on the first and third Wednesday of every month on Zoom. You do not have to be certified to attend. You could even be in school for it, and you just want to maybe get an idea for what the work looks like when you get out of school. Please come and join us. We had a nice meeting for the first one. I see Ben Rudolph smiling. I'm going to invite him at some point to talk because he did I don't want to say renegade. He did a version of this downstate, and he gave me his notes, and they've been incredibly helpful. So hope you can join us for this one, maybe on the first or third Wednesday. Virtual Narcan training. We do have this the third Thursday of every month at 12:30. This is a good way if for people who have like zero training on Narcan whatsoever. If you've got a family member who's like, okay, I've heard about Narcan, I've heard about overdoses, you know, where can I get an easy, simple training? Send them to this. In addition to just kind of the basics of that training, we also talk about like current trends. So stuff that we're seeing as far as overdose statistics, adulterants in the supply. So whether that's, you know, fentanyl analogs or xylazine or nitazines, you name it. We kind of talk about what's going on as far as harm reduction and overdose in DuPage. Great time. Also, you could do it on your lunch break. So if you got somebody that could definitely use a training, send them to that one. And this weekend is the third annual DuPage ROSC picnic. Getting excited to go shopping for this on Friday. So this is the third annual. We do it every year in Churchill Woods and Lombard. We usually take care of like a majority of the food. We try to make this a low or no cost day out for people in recovery. But if you want to bring something to share, we will not stop you. But we're over in Churchill Woods, Forest Preserve, and Lombard. We usually have games, music. It's a lot of fun. I think quite a few of you guys have gone previously. Completely open to the public, no charge. If you know somebody who's in recovery, maybe even early recovery, and if you feel like maybe they want to, you know, get out and feel like they're having fun in sobriety, send them out to this picnic this weekend. Another event this weekend, I swear, Danny and I were looking at the calendar this month, and there's like multiple things every Saturday. It's kind of wild. But this Saturday is also the NAMI DuPage, Serenity House, and PLT 5K, Run for the Mind. They usually do this every year over at the fairgrounds. Last year, I got to throw colored chalk at people for the fun run. I won't be doing that this year. I'll be over setting up the picnic. But this one's always fun. If you get a chance, you've not gone out to attend, go check that out. That starts, I think, as early as 8 a.m. And then there's also a diaper dash for the kids. Okay, now I've rambled enough for a minute. I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Danny, who's going to talk about the WhatsApp referral hub. But not only that, he's going to talk about the CORS grant that he's working with these days and what that's providing, and if that's something that might be beneficial for you or your organization. So Danny, take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. Here's this month's WhatsApp Referral Hub update. Again, thank you to everyone who's been a part of it. Our team now is at 120 members. We have been joined by members of the following organizations this month: NAMI DuPage, College of DuPage, AID, Stony Brook, HLM, DuPage County Health Department, and Greater Family Health. Over the last month, we've been able to provide referrals for detox and residential treatment for substance use disorders, PHP and IOP for psychosis, reunification therapy, mental health inpatient, basic living essentials, shelters, grief support groups, MAT, gender affirming care, and sober living. Now it's time to name this month's referral MVP. The individual who provided the most referrals in this month's MVP is Becky Sadler from Rosecrans, who is our first multiple time MVP and on this meeting.
I saw her in the meeting. Becky, congratulations. Two-time winner.
Awesome.
She may clean up at the year-end awards.
That is true. So keep it coming, Becky. Thank you. Whether you provided or requested 1 or 100 referrals, they are all meaningful into helping our clients, and we thank you for your support.
Before you get into CORS, real quick, I just want to give like a real basic explanation of what this is for people who maybe are here for the first time. Talked about this at this summit this past weekend and had quite a few people come up and say, how do I pay to get into that? You don't have to pay. It's completely free. If you're somebody that works like with timely referrals, which I think a lot of us are, when we get those calls of, hey, my brother-in-law has an issue with drinking. He has, you know, Medicaid, but he needs to get to bed tomorrow. we were running into a lot of those situations. And it's tough, to find those timely referrals, especially when someone's ready and willing to go, right? That willingness to maybe go to treatment is a very small window sometimes. So if we can't find that bed for them, it can be really, really difficult to follow up on. And so we created this group text, which quickly outgrew a multi-carrier text thread, and now sits on WhatsApp with 120 people. So that's 120 people across Northern Illinois that work in like all areas of the recovery continuum. So it's not just treatment centers. There's like sober living houses, shelters, PHP, IOP, legal, grief support, medication assisted recovery. So there's a lot of stuff. So if any of that sounds like, hey, this could be beneficial for me in the work I'm doing, put your name in the chat, and then Danny and I or Blake will reach out and get you all set up, because it's very, very easy to use and it's very, very non-invasive. So yeah, that's my pitch for the referral hub. I'll give it back over to you now. Sorry.
No problem. And it's you don't have to respond to anything, or you can respond to everything, right? Don't feel pressure that just because there's a referral in there that you have to give something there, only if it pertains to you. I'll give an update on CORS now. So we were awarded the CORS grant in the beginning of July. That stands for Community Outreach and Recovery Support. At this point, we've been doing a lot of outreach, trying to make partnerships with different organizations. Our priority focus are those who are unhoused or risk of being unhoused, who have substance or opioid use disorders or other mental health challenges that come along with that, are at risk of medical complications, incarceration, or overdose. And some of the services that we provide are harm reduction, training, and distribution, coordination with referrals, and coaching services, which are free. So if you're interested, please, I'm going to put my email in the chat in just a moment. We would love to connect, and I can tell you more about it.
That's the really important word, y'all. Free in all caps. But yeah, if that sounds again like something that might be beneficial for you, just put your info in the chat and Danny can reach out to you. So yeah, thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
I'll take that mic, but I'll bring up my colleague Danielle. We can just trade. Danielle Heffernan, everybody. Let me get our flyer up for this next one. All right, Danielle is our wonderful RCO coordinator. What's an RCO, you might ask? Danielle, do you want to tell them what an RCO is first before the event?
Yeah, so the RCO, we'd put on like a lot of fun events for the community, for people in recovery. One thing that I do want to also talk about is we're going into schools. I'm looking for volunteers that might want to come with us to the schools to talk to the students, do drug education and prevention. But yeah, we run a lot of meetings. We do quite a few smart recovery meetings. Yeah, we just try to help the recovery community and provide safe, fun, sober activities for them to do. So yeah, our next event is going to be the nature therapy walk and forest bathing experience. I know a few people in this room have gone to it. It's a super relaxing, peaceful. It's a very fun event. It's in nature, and especially the beginning of October. Hopefully we'll have some fall colors and everything, and hopefully it won't be too cold either. Super fun. If anybody would like to come, please come. It's a free event, like Jared said, free keyword. And it's just a really beautiful experience. It's a little bit of like meditating, and it's just really fun. And then also, if anybody is interested in coming to the schools with us, I'm going to put my email in the chat, or if you're in person, you can just come talk to me after the meeting. I'm trying to get an email list of people. We got quite a few coming up in November, and before I send an email out, I want to hopefully get some more emails on my list. And it's super rewarding getting to give back to the community, help the kids, hopefully they might not have to go through some of the stuff that I know like I've gone through as being somebody in recovery. So, yeah, that's all the updates I got. Thank you.
Thank you, Danielle. I'm gonna vouch for two things. First of all, the forest bathing experience. I'm a multi-time I've attended a few of these, and they're always really, really cool. The Conservation Foundation's been a great partner for us. We really try to look at like that multiple pathways approach, and we have had clientele who maybe weren't reacting great to traditional therapeutics who go out and do these forest events and find that there's like a bit of a breakthrough. And so it's like just providing, you know, mindful spaces, mindful areas, especially out in nature, just as another option for people who are in recovery trying to do something a little bit different. And also the schools. I've been doing the schools for a bit now. Two things I was freaked out about when I first started doing this work. One was going to schools. The other one was going into jails. I was like, the kids do not want to listen to me talk, and the inmates do not want to listen to me talk. I was shocked because both really did, and both are very engaged. And the work inside the schools and inside with justice-involved individuals has been very, very gratifying. So if you are in recovery and you want to like come out and join us at these schools, talk a little bit about your own lived experience, that'd be awesome because we could definitely use it. Before we get into the first guest for today, is there anybody that's here for their very first ROSC meeting? And I might be able to put them on the spot for a second. Not like too much on the spot, but just to introduce them. All right, we got one up here. Do you want to introduce yourself? Yeah. I'm going to hand you this microphone. It's very awkward. This is the best way we can do it. It's on. Yeah, you can talk into it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Paul Calhoun. I'm a student over at College DuPage under Bruce Seawick. You all may know him. I'm a student for the CRSS. I also run a company called Advisor Speaks, speaking in the area of mental health. But being a individual with lived experience in mental health, personally and both in family as well, I figured now's a good time to give back to the community since the community's helped me out as well. So that's why I'm here to learn
Excellent.
more about ROSC.
Welcome.
Thank
Glad to have you here. Anybody else in person for the first time? I think I've seen most of you. All right. If I forgot you, I'll put you on the spot later. Anybody on Zoom for the first time?
Hi, my name is Rainey. I'm also in the CRSS program. My
Oh,
first
great.
meeting. Mhm.
Welcome. Glad to have you.
Hello, my name is Milsa Hernandez. I am part of the NIRCO ROSC Council as well, and I'm glad to be part of this organization.
Awesome. Glad to have NIRCO and Lake County representing.
Thank you.
All right. Well, in the interest of time, thank you to everybody who introduced themselves. And if you're new here, we hope we can get you back at the next one. Again, we meet the second Wednesday of every month. With all that housekeeping stuff done, why don't we start getting to the guests to promote some of these awesome events that are coming up. So the first guest, Joey Tepper, who I mentioned is the coalition coordinator at the Illinois Harm Reduction and Recovery Coalition. Joey's here to talk with us about an upcoming town hall meeting on the opioid overdose crisis, as well to maybe talk a little bit and maybe answer any questions anybody might have about the work the IHRRC is doing for folks who are living with substance use challenges. So Joey, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to go ahead and share the screen with the flyer for that event. And you can go ahead and take it away.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And I apologize for my croaky voice. And thank you for bearing with me. I'm recovering from COVID, so my brain is still trying to get back to reality here. So we have a lot going on right now at IHRC. So we have this event, but I just want to talk a little bit about what we do first, if you don't know who we are. So it's the Illinois Harm Reduction and Recovery Coalition. We're a very small but very mighty team. We do legislation and advocacy across the entire state. So we have lots and lots of members who all get together. We get together once a month, and I'll put all the information in the chat about when our next meeting is. It's in just under a week. And currently what we're working on, we've done a lot of legislative work in the past to pass bills so that all of us can do the work that we want to do. And currently we have been working really, really hard on an OPS or overdose prevention site bill to try to get a pilot license for a site to open somewhere in Chicago. And we had a really, really successful town hall for IOAD We had the vice mayor come out. We had a lot of support, and it was really, really energizing. So we're doing another event coming up on the 30th. It's called a Community Conversation: Solutions to the Opioid Overdose Crisis. And this is actually going to be hosted and moderated by Rep. Santa Litro, which is really, really cool. The other folks who are going to be on that panel, we have none other than Jarrett as well. We also have Felicia Michelli, who is from the LTM Foundation. We have Dr. Steve Holtzford, who's from the DuPage County Health Department. We have Odalise Landa. She is a outreach coordinator at Live for Lolly, which is an amazing, well, I'm very biased because I used to work for them, an amazing organization that does harm reduction outreach and training. We had such an amazing time working together, and she's on the ground working with people all the time. So she's a really, really great resource for talking about this. And then obviously we have Chelsea Laliberte Barnes. She's also the founder and the co-chair of the Harm Reduction and Recovery Coalition. So it's going to be a really amazing conversation. Right now, I'm going to drop a lot of things in the chat. So sorry for that big block, but to look at the event page, I put the link on there. Now we're also looking for, we have some people tabling already, but if you are an organization that does any type of harm reduction or recovery within District 48 or near there, please email me and let me know if you would like to set up there to give out some information. We'd really love to have you. Otherwise, please join us for this event. If you click on that link in there, you can register for it. We're probably going to work on a virtual option. I'm not 100% sure yet, but stay tuned. Then there's also two things I would love for folks to do. The first one is to sign on to show your individual support for the overdose prevention site bill. If you don't know what it is, that is okay. That link will send you straight to the page to learn all about it. Just a little quick thing about them, because I'm so passionate about them. Overdose prevention sites are all across the world. They're places where people take the drugs that they buy and they come and they use them. And if they do experience an overdose, they are brought back by staff there, not even necessarily medical staff. It's just people with lived experience, people who are harm reductionists. They are there with oxygen, with naloxone to bring people back. And so far, there has not been a death from an overdose in any of them, and these have been going on for a very long time. There is one open right now, or I'm sorry, two open right now in New York City called On Point. I got to go visit there, and I just can't tell you how much of a beautiful experience it was seeing this community center, basically, with massages and acupuncture and social workers and doctors and food and showers. And they also had the safe use site in the back as well. So, I mean, I could go on and on about this, but if you'd like to sign on individually in support of that, we'd love that as well. There's quite a few people here who their organization has signed on, but if you would also like to show your support as an organization, there's also a link to do that. And then the last thing is we do have our next meeting coming up next week, where again, people from all across the state of all walks of life, these are people in recovery, people who are current users of drugs. These are doctors, nurses, social workers, harm reductionists, anyone and everyone just committed to, I mean, we have people who aren't even in the field and are just passionate about it. Just anyone really committed to saving lives and saving people's lives who use drugs. So we all get together and we talk about what's going on in the state. Again, next week, 17th, 2 to 3. Or if you can't come next week, totally fine. We have a meeting once a month, and just go ahead and email me and I'll get you on the distribution list. So thank you so much for giving me a little bit of time. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to stay on, and then obviously you can always email me.
Yeah, Joey, thank you so much. I do want to keep you just for a couple more minutes in case there's questions. If anybody in the Zoom has a question, you can raise your little digital hand and I'll get to you. If there's somebody here in person who has a question, they can just come on up. I'm glad you started talking about the safe consumption sites because, well, first of all, thank you for the work that you're doing in that area. Because like you, I've seen the good that it's been doing in New York City. And I think some people obviously, maybe get a little squirrely when they hear things like safe consumption sites. So I'm glad you talked a little bit about, what actually happens in them. But what do you think are like the big misconceptions people have about them? And like, what can we do to better educate people on what they're actually doing at safe consumption sites?
That is such a good question. I think the biggest misconception, well, first of all, I just want to point out that there are tons of people in support of this, but a lot of people don't want it in their neighborhood. And the reasons why is because they think it's going to enable or promote drug use in some way, which it does not promote it and it does not discourage people. It's a neutral ground for people to come. So I think that is the biggest misconception. But I mean, you all are very versed in harm reduction. We know that that is the same thing about harm reduction. And I think that, I really think if people were just able to go in and see how amazing the services are and how much of a true community center it is, I think they would understand the importance of having one. I mean, we should have one in every other neighborhood, just like doctors' offices, just like community centers. It's a hub of harm reduction, and it's also by people who use drugs for people who use drugs. So these are folks who, really know what's going on, understand the process, understand the journey that people are going through. And yeah, I think those are the main things about it. Don't give me too much time. I literally will not shut up about it.
No, I think it's such an amazing topic, and it's like I haven't had a chance to do like a full-on segment on it yet. So maybe down the line I'll have you come
Yeah.
back and we can talk more about it.
Absolutely.
But just had another question too, because as people who practice harm reduction out here in DuPage County, sometimes stuff that makes its way out here runs a little bit behind maybe what we see in the city and other places. And so, beyond just stuff that we're kind of seeing now, like, like xylazine and the need for like wound care that goes along with that, is there anything else y'all are seeing on the front lines come up like that? Like, what, beyond just like the adulterants, is harm reduction kind of making a difference in the work that you've been able to do in the area?
I think absolutely. I mean, so what I'll say is that our team is based mainly in Chicago and some suburbs, but in general, usually the same things that are going on in the city of Chicago, where it's concentrated, it's going on all over the state. So that's why I think the meeting is a really great place for people to come together and say, this kind of thing is happening way down south, and we go, oh yeah, we've experienced that. And maybe someone in Rockford says, oh, we experienced that in our community, let's talk about it. So I think there's not necessarily one thing I can point to right now. And then also, just to clarify, so the coalition, we're not like a direct service provider. So we're not on the streets, even though that's where I did a lot of my professional work. And our other co-chair, Dr. Tanya Sorrell, she's the head of the substance use, cannot remember the acronym for it, at Rush Substance Use Treatment Department over at Rush. So we do have a lot of perspectives coming into the coalition, but I really do think, to me, it's a great place to come if you're like, I really could use someone else's outside perspective of that.
Yeah. Well,
So I
Joey,
didn't
thank you so
really answer
much.
your question, but
No,
I
that's
feel
great.
like,
That's great.
come get the perspective from people who are right there, and we're happy to link people up in any way.
Yeah, exactly. So we'll try to direct some people to the meeting. But yeah, if you can make it to the event on the 30th, just right next door to us in Carroll Stream. Yeah, I'm going to be on the panel with a bunch of great peers, and hopefully we could have a really productive conversation and see where we can move with some of this legislation. So Joey, thank you again for making the time for us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jarrett, for coming to join us.
Yep. All right. Next up, Dr. Mary Roberson. Dr. Mary is, well, she's one of my favorite people working in the ROSC arena. Danny and I got to know Dr. Mary and some of her team really well just by working together in Region 2, which is the region that our ROSC are in together. There's a number of us up in this kind of Northern Illinois strip. And Dr. Mary is the founder and CEO of the Northern Illinois Recovery Community Organization. You may have heard of it, NIRCO. And she also works with the Lake County ROSC. So NIRCO, along with the Chicago Recovering Communities Coalition, I'm sorry, there's a ton of acronyms in this field. So with CRCC and Faces and Voices of Recovery are putting on this massive national recovery rally coming up on Saturday, the 21st. Her and her team and CRCC and Faces and Voices have been working on this for at least a year or so. We've kind of got to see, you know, some of the planning from the very early stages, and now we're here. So Dr. Mary, I'm going to give it over to you for a few minutes to talk to us about the rally. What can we expect? And tell me how you're feeling, you know, after months and months of planning and work, and now that we're here, how excited are you? Are you muted? Uh-oh. Let's see. Of course, when I'm sharing, I can't really.
Okay, I'm sorry. Is it
Hey,
me?
there we
I was
go.
yeah, I
Yeah.
was on a phone call, so
That's okay. We got you.
okay, it's
I was
my
just
turn.
saying, yeah, I was just saying, Dr. Mary, I just wanted to say thank you for joining us. And I was just telling people, like, seeing that from the planning stages that you've been doing this for, you know, about a year or so, from the planning, the very beginning stages to now, talk to us a little bit about this kind of journey for y'all and putting this on, and how excited are you to finally have this? Very, very, very honored to be able to have this up in our area. So I want to
Yeah.
let you talk about the rally.
Hey, can you give me sharing? I got just a couple slides just to wow people. That would be great.
Yep. Hang on one second. Let me give you the share.
We are so excited, and you're right. Not only me, Ben, and some other folks in Region 2 been helping us out. So yeah, there we go. So let's share this quick little PowerPoint slide. Let's go to slideshow from the beginning. Yeah. Oh, okay. There we go. So Vanessa created this. This is awesome. So yeah, Jared, you are absolutely right. CRCC and NIRCO, we are over the top with excitement that we're going to be hosting the national rally for Chicago right in Chicago. I heard the harm reduction person talking about the overdoses and all of that stuff. And, you know, that Interstate 290 has always been not always, lately been pegged the heroin highway because folks from the burbs was driving on 290 going to the west side of Chicago, picking up their substances, going back to their community, unfortunately overdosing. Well, when we got selected to host a national rally, we said, you know what, we're going to bust the stigma of that. So Faces and Voices of Recovery, we are very excited about the opportunity to host this. It's going to be putting a face and a voice to recovery. It's September 21st. We know that September is National Recovery Month. So Chicago Recovery Community Coalition and NIRCO, it's going to be the 21st day of September. I often say in other arenas, if there's any Earth, Wind, and Fire fans on board, you know that there's this song. Do you remember the 21st day of September? We got a DJ that's got it already mapped into his playlist. We're going to be rocking that at the UIC Credit Union 1 Arena. So mark your calendar. If you haven't registered already, go to CRC's website, go to our website. I'll also, you know, send it to Jared them, or maybe Amanda, somebody could put the Zeffy link in the chat for me. We're going to be rocking it, and you don't want to miss it. And yes, we are working with the Illinois Harms Reduction and Recovery Coalition. Chelsea, she sent in, you know, you guys are going to have a table. We're also going to have a mock overdose prevention site there. So come on, check that out right here. So we went to the national rally last year. This picture is a picture of, you know, us. There is me on the far right, along with Dora right next to me. And then Donna from Oklahoma City, we had it out there. Again, we're going to have live music. We're going to have national speakers. I don't know if you guys know that SAMHSA, our big federal organization, they have a national office of recovery. Well, that person is headed up by someone with lived experience. I'm a person with lived experience. I've been around in recovery for decades, and it's just an awesome thing to be able to have our national leaders comment to, you know, be here in Chicago. As well, we're going to have our state partners. We believe that the director of IDHS Super is going to be there to speak, as well as other folks that's going to be coming. We got a recovery comedian that's in the state of Illinois, part of our ROSC Council. He's going to be there emceeing the program. We got food trucks, you know, across the street in the parking lot. We're doing a little mini taste of Chicago. The food trucks, they're vendors, so it's a cost for that. We can't bring food back into the arena. We were going to try to get those concessions going in the arena, but that costs way too much. So we're trying to operate on the budget that we allow. So it's going to be awesome. This rally is also going to be family friendly. One of our providers that we work with run multiple daycares. They're going to be doing painting faces for the kids and having activities for the kids. So if you want to bring your, as we say, your shorties along with you, you could do that as well. So why is this important for Illinois? Because, you know, it's so many people across the nation that's, you know, recovering, and Illinois has never been selected to host the national rally. So you're going to be part of history when you come down there, right in the heart of Chicago, right off the so-called heroin highway. We're now pegging that the pathway to recovery, and we're very, very excited. So we're just showing, you know, all the movement across the town that is going to be rocking. As you can see, there's the information. It's going to be 9 o'clock to 4 p.m. right at the Credit Union One Arena. You could come on down. You could, you know, we're going to do some line dancing. Jared, I want to see you shake your shoulders and see if you could step to the left and step to the right and freeze and turn around. And I want some more folks in there. Danny, you got to shake it. Come on,
Danny said he was gonna do the percolator.
Oh my God. I'm gonna be looking for that, Danny. We got Ben, he's on the volunteer team. We've been doing some powerful stuff. We got volunteers that's stood up, and you know, we got registration. We got some pretty cool t-shirts. As a matter of fact, one of my staff member have to design that. The t-shirts are gonna be free. It's no cost to get into the rally. You know, we got vendor tables, we got organizations that's going to have their, you know, giveaways and all of that stuff. We got sponsors, and we're still looking for sponsors. We're still looking for folks to help to make this happen. And if you haven't, you know, checked CRCC's website, not website, but Facebook page, check it out, because the state of Illinois lit up the skyline purple. It is so beautiful, ladies and purple for National Recovery Month. I drove down on Sunday night to try to capture it, but because our Bears won their first game, they had the Chicago Bears up there. But John, he had already captured it, and it's beautiful. The skyline was lit up purple for National Recovery Month. And I'll stop there, Jared, to see if anybody have any questions, because I could go on and on to the break of dawn.
Sure. It looks like our buddy Ben Rudolph had his hand up. So Ben, I'm gonna go ahead and give it to you for a minute.
I got a question. Dr. Mary, what about Friday night?
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you asked. There's a Friday night event too, a pre-rally kickoff. I don't have that flyer in my stuff there, but there's a pre-rally kickoff, and I'll make sure that I get that to Jared. It's going to be not too far from the arena. It's going to be a social. It's going to be 3 different speakers from different pathway. It's going to be games. It's going to be open mic, karaoke. Going to have some light refreshments and things of that sort, just to kind of kick it off and get ready for the next day. Thanks, Ben. That's why I love you.
Hey, listen, I'm working on Friday night. I don't want to be standing there alone.
There you go. Thank you.
That'll be a lot of pizza and chicken to eat. You know, it's not. I need people.
Yeah. It's exciting. Jared, you're right. We've been working on this for a whole year, and it is finally here, and we are very, you know, excited about it. So it's gonna be dynamite. Yes.
Yeah, it was two state ROS meetings ago. We were downstate, and I remember you had I think just received the word that you were getting it. And so to see y'all bring this up from the germ of an idea to now being this, first time in Illinois is such an honor. So very, very
Yeah.
proud of the work that y'all have done.
Yeah, a lot of people are very, very proud. And I want you guys to be there. Even if you just come, individually, please, please come on down so that when you're in your Ross Council meetings, you're in your RCOs, you're in your own personal recovery, you could say, you know what, I was part of history making in Chicago, Illinois. I attended the first ever national rally held here in Illinois. They've been doing this for 20 years. They've been in Dallas. They've been in Oklahoma City. They've been on the East Coast. They've been down in Florida. So now it's here in Illinois. Come on, somebody. Could y'all work with me or what?
Dr. Mary, well, I've got you. Obviously, like the work y'all have been doing has been like so focused on this, but what else is going on in Lake County? Is the Lake County ROSC up to anything that you want to share with the group or your team that you got with you that also does work with the Lake County ROSC?
Yeah, I'll open it up to Marie. Marie, you want to talk about the family strategy? Barb, you want to chime in with us increasing our Latino participation? We're doing a whole lot of good stuff here. We just finished our overdose awareness event as well on Saturday the 31st, where we honored one of our close colleagues who we lost to, an overdose, and had their family there. And it was really, really awesome. Trained some folks on Narcan. Yeah. So I'll turn it over to Marie to kind of chime in for any other thing.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Mary. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm bubbling over, of course, because the rally is coming, right? But aside from the rally, we are continuing to do our best to help be a healing agent for this community, for the Lake County area, community members, families, youth, and such. And because of that, we are being very intentional about providing recovery support services and education to our youth and families. So we are launching our youth and family strategies to wellness. What we're doing is we're doing a soft opening. We're bringing in other organizations that are youth focused. And tomorrow we will have a short presentation for our community partners, just to give them an idea of what is ahead for us. So we're really excited about that. This is our second event, and we have been getting interest, and which is why we know we're heading in the right direction, and we're going to keep moving forward with that. So we're also planning our Harvest Fest that is, again, focused on our children. We're going to infuse topics regarding substance relationships, and we're excited about that. So we're just, we're doing the work that we set out to do. But I do want to let you know that on the fourth Thursday of this month, which is our Lake County ROS meeting, we're going to do a recap about the rally. I think we're going to need more opportunities to talk about, all the exciting things that's going to happen at the rally, and the people, the faces, the words, the encouragement, the empowerment to let the world know, because this is a national rally. We're letting the world know that recovery is possible for any and everyone. And although it may look different from person to person, but there is still room for us to serve the community, educate, and support them. And so for our ROS Council on the fourth Thursday of this month at 10:30 a.m., we are going to have individuals from multiple pathways to recovery. And we are really excited about that. So there's a lineup. I'll save the best for the meeting, and I am hoping that you all will be present to listen to and see what multiple pathways to recovery looks like. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Marie. Yeah, and I think it looked like Barbara put in the chat, Dr. Mary and John of CRCC were on WGN News. So you can check that out. That's awesome. Barbara, how about
Check
you?
them out. Yes, that's what I was going to talk about. Dr. Mary and John Wright of CRCC were on WGN News. So go follow the link and actually capture our star, a star in the making on that interview.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, Dr. Mary, Marie, and Barbara, thank you so much. Obviously, you know, Danny and I and a bunch of us are going to be out at the rally. So we'll see you in person if we, you know, can spare a few minutes here and there. I know you're going to be busy running around, but we're really, really excited. Does anybody have any questions for Dr. Mary or the Lake County team before we move on to some organizational updates? Going once, going twice. Well, Dr. Mary, thank you again. And Barbara and Marie, thank you. And best of luck. And yeah, we'll see you in about, what, 2 weeks, a week, a little over a week? Yeah. Sorry, these weekends are blending into one another, man.
know,
Every
right?
weekend it's something, but this is the big one. So we're really looking forward to it.
Thanks, everybody.
All right. So with the time we've got left, if anybody has any other program updates, events, things they would like to promote, if you're in person, you get to come on down and use the microphone. We got Alex.
Yes. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So my name is Alex Milken, and I'm from Family Shelter Service of Metropolitan Family Services, DuPage. And so we are the domestic violence provider here in DuPage, but we serve anybody who comes to us needing domestic violence services. So I just want to say empathize with your like blacking out this month of just like, I can't even like think of everything going on. So
Yep.
we're on the eve of Domestic Violence Awareness Month, as you guys are in the grips of Recovery Month. So we also have a lot going on for Domestic Violence Awareness Month that I was hoping to just share out with all of you. If you're in DuPage or near DuPage and want to be a part of some things. So we're kicking off the month raising dollars for domestic violence at Raising Cane's over in Glen Ellen. So if you live near Glen Ellen and you like chicken fingers, just say our name and we'll get some of that money back. So that's a really quick and passive way to be involved. We're also hosting a donation drive on October 2nd. So if you don't know, we have an emergency shelter that supports survivors leaving unsafe, abusive relationships. And so we always need new products for our clients coming in, hygiene products, linens, etc. So we're hosting a donation drive on October 2nd. And one of our biggest events we're doing this year is an awareness walk. So we are doing a very casual awareness walk. It's not meant to be like this huge fundraising event. It's truly just meant to show up and show solidarity. So that's on Sunday, October 6th at Herrick Lake in Wheaton. And it's just a kind of breezy 1 mile walk around the lake. So if you're around and you want to join us for that, we'd love to see you there. Another great way to be involved, if you can't make it out to DuPage, is joining us for some virtual training. So every Thursday in October, we're hosting a virtual training from 10 to 12. And every week we'll have a different topic. We're going to be talking about the effects of domestic violence on children, orders of protection, post-separation abuse. So some really good topics and expertise to share out. We do offer CEUs for LSW, LCSW, LMFT, LCP, LCPC, CDVP. So if you need some CEUs, we can offer those to you as well. Another great event, I think, if some of you guys are around and want to join us for, is we're having a community partner open house. So we know people can be curious about kind of what does shelter look like. And so we're actually going to have a live shelter tour that night from 5 to 6, where you can actually come to our building. We think it's really helpful for community partners to know how to talk about shelter for those who have assumptions and fears, and they're kind of unsure of what shelter looks like if they're needing it. And then we'll just be there hanging out to talk to you a little bit about our services and whatnot. So that's going to be on October 23rd. And then otherwise, we're going to have a trunk or treat at the end of the month in Wheaton, and we're going to be all over DuPage at farmers markets on the weekends. So if you see us there, stop on by. So I'll send over all of these flyers to Jared if you can share them out. And we'd love to see you show up for something and engage in Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So thank you.
Absolutely. And as I've said before, when we've had DV presentations or spotlights on organizations that the intersection is there with DV and substance use challenges. And, you know, the more we can do to kind of work together and
Yes.
complement the work that we're all doing, I think is really important. And I think for far too long, sometimes DV can be a blind spot when we get in those silos, right? Like
Yeah.
substance use, but there's this stuff that's also happening
Yes.
that we have to be really aware of. So
Yeah, there's lots of layers. And for those who don't know, we're actually partnering with ROSC for the CORES grant. So we're super excited about that.
Yes.
And we got to attend the overdose event, and we had a lot of people coming up and sharing their lived experience with both, you know, substance use and domestic violence. And really just kind of hits home that we need to keep bringing these things together because people feel the effects of both. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But yeah,
Thank
send me
you.
those flyers. I'll send those out to everybody. And
Sounds
yeah,
good. Thanks,
let's
guys.
get involved for next month. Thanks, Alex. Anybody else have anything they want to promote? Well, we got a couple more minutes left. You all have programs. I know you do. Get on these meetings, act like the only person doing something. No, if nobody has anything else, I'll give you a few minutes of your day back. Thank you again to Joey, and thank you to Dr. Mary and team. And yeah, this recording will go up on the YouTube page. The next ROSC council meeting is on October 9th. And again, we're talking to Banyan Treatment Centers and the way back in. And then remember, next week, we have Tom Farley on the presentation series meeting. So thank you to everybody for attending this month's meeting, and we will see you a month from now. Thank you again. And I'll hang on here for just a little bit if anybody has any questions.